Hey guys, it's Ms. Stark. I just wanted to talk with you briefly a little bit about figurative language and kind of do a review over this concept. So figurative language is any kind of language that isn't literal. Literal is defined as free from exaggeration or embellishment, characterized by a concern mainly with facts. So literal is things that are 100% true. You know, my table literally is made from wood. You know, those kind of things. Figurative is expressing one thing in terms normally denoting another, with which it may be regarded as analogous, or kind of more simple, characterized by figures of speech. So figures of speech, again, are that figurative language. They are things that say one thing and mean another. So, again, expressing one thing in terms, so expressing one thing in a way that normally denotes another. Okay? So expressing one thing in a way that you would normally talk about another, with which it may be regarded as analogous. So analogous is a big word that basically means like an analogy, you know. This is to that as that is to this, you know. Red is to pen as white is to paper, you know. The idea of creating those comparisons, okay? And if that doesn't make sense, it's cool. We'll come back to that later. You'll get that later. But figurative language is any language that's characterized by figures of speech. So figurative language is any speech that isn't literal. It's any speech that isn't saying exactly what it means. So let's get into some of the specific kinds of that. So hyperbole. Hyperbole is an extreme exaggeration, okay? We baked 1,000,000 cookies. Did he literally bake 1,000,000 cookies, or did you bake like 24 cookies, right? It's an extreme exaggeration. He jumped 20 billion feet in the air. No, he didn't. He just jumped really high. Hyperbole. It's an extreme exaggeration. It's when you go over the top to make a point. Idioms. Okay, an idiom is a common expression whose meaning cannot be deduced from the combined meaning of its actual words. Put your money where your mouth is an example of an idiom. So it's a common expression whose meaning can't be deduced from the combined meaning of the actual words. So every language has idioms, and idioms are basically just things that don't say exactly what they mean. Okay? It's raining cats and dogs. Was it actually raining cats and dogs, or was it just raining and it sounded super loud? Like it was raining something really heavy. Okay? Because if you've heard the expression, put your money where your mouth is it literally saying, take the money out of your wallet, pick it up, put it inside of your mouth? No, it's not. It's saying that if you're saying it, then actually put your money behind it to support what you're actually saying that you support. Okay? So, it's an expression where you don't know where just looking at those words, you couldn't make sense of what it's actually saying. That's an idiom. And it's a little confusing. I get it. Okay, tough one. Okay, next one is imagery. And we have definitely talked about imagery. Okay, so imagery, mind the camera here. Imagery are words and phrases which appeal to the senses. Okay, words and phrases that appeal to the senses. Those 5 senses being sight, sound, touch, taste, smell. Okay, so those main 5 senses, it's words that really draw those in and create vivid descriptions that make you feel like you're actually experiencing that in a way with your 5 senses. So this example here says, root beer bubbled in the back of my throat and shot through my nose, creating the effect of brown lava running down my throat. That's so gross, right? Like you can just almost feel that happening. The root beer bubbled in the back of my throat and shot through my nose, creating the effect of brown lava running down my throat. You can really see that brown lava. You can really feel it bubble, right? I mean, you could have just said, oh, root beer came up my nose and ran down my throat. Does that create the same sensory experience that this description gives? No. So imagery makes it feel like you're really there. Imagery connects to the five senses. The next one that we're going to talk about is a metaphor. Okay, and a metaphor is a comparison of two unlike things. So a metaphor, an example of that would be, my room is an oven. And it's making a direct comparison. So you would use is. My room is an oven. I'm saying this is that. And that creates a metaphor. You could say that my bed was a pillow, right? Saying my bed's really soft. You could say my room is an oven. My room is really hot. Creates a more strong feeling of it because you're creating that comparison. So, the next one that we're going to talk about is related to that. It's a simile. A simile is a comparison of two unlike things, kind of like a metaphor is, but instead of using is, you're using like or as. The cloud was fluffy like cotton candy. Okay? And I know in the slides I put, there's this lovely song by the Bazillions that goes, similes and metaphors are similar but nothing more than a comparison in different ways. Similes use like or as. Metaphors have none of that, right? So if it's creating a comparison between two things, my room is an oven, the cloud was fluffy like cotton candy, an easy way to know whether that is a simile or a metaphor is to look for like or as. If it's using like or as, it's a simile. If it's using is, it's a metaphor. So that's kind of those two. The next one that we're going to get into is personification. And personification, okay? Personification is giving an object human qualities, okay? So the wind whispered sweet nothings upon my cheek. Did the wind literally whisper? Can wind literally whisper? No, it's not a human. It can't whisper. The flowers danced in the breeze. Did the flowers actually dance? No, they're not humans. They don't actually dance. You know? I woke up to my cat yelling at me for food. Can the cat actually yell? No, it's not a human. It's not yelling. It's just meowing at you. Does that kind of make sense, guys? The idea is that you're taking something that's not human, like a flower or the wind or a cat, and giving it human qualities. That is personification. All right, symbolism. Symbolism is symbolism, okay? Symbolism is the act of giving additional meaning to an object other than its original meaning, okay? So the dove is a symbol of peace. You know, Superman is a symbol of hope. You know, the idea is that there is one thing and it stands for another. So if every time in this book that you see a owl, that owl means that someone's going to die, that owl is now a symbol for death, right? The act of giving additional meaning. So it's not that owls always forever in every culture in the history of forever has stood for death, right? It's just that in this story or in this culture or in whatever, it's standing as a symbol. It means this. You're giving it additional meaning, okay? So owls don't always forever stand for death, but you're giving it the additional meaning of standing for death, right? Because it doesn't the dove doesn't always forever in every culture, in every story, originally stand for peace, right? But in this story, anytime there's a dove, that dove might mean peace, okay? That's what symbolism is. Okay, onomatopoeia. Lovely word. Fun to say, okay? Onomatopoeia are words whose sounds suggest their meaning. So, the cat looked at me and meowed. Meow is such a weird word, right? Because you're imitating the sound that the cat makes. That's where we came up with the word meow, right? The bee buzzed. Why do we say buzz? Why do we use that onomatopoeia? Because it sounds like the sound that a bee makes, right? She let the door bang closed behind her. Again, that word, that bang, is sounding like what it actually means, right? Meow, buzz, bang. All of those words sound like the sound that it actually makes. That's onomatopoeia. Weird concept, super cool, okay? And the last one that I'm talking about just here is illusion. And an illusion isn't I-L-L, illusion. It's allusion, okay? And an allusion is a reference to a famous person or a place or an event, right? I spent my weekend like Cinderella. All I did was clean, right? That's a story, a famous story, a famous person, even though she's fictional, that you probably are aware of, right? The wrestler, was as strong as Superman. You're making those connections between well-known places, well-known people, well-known events. And you're using that kind of a reference, an allusion, to strengthen a point that you're trying to make. That's what allusion is, okay? So, hyperbole is an exaggeration. Idiom is a phrase that doesn't mean exactly what it's saying. Imagery appeals to the senses. Okay? Metaphor, a direct comparison using is. Simile, a comparison using like or as. Personification gives a non-human human qualities. Symbolism gives something an additional meaning. Onomatopoeia means that the words sound like what they actually mean. And allusions are a reference to a famous person, place, or event. So these are some common types of figurative language that you might run into and that you might want to use in stories and stuff that you're writing. So this is out here. Take it, use what you can from it, and hopefully this helps you out, guys. Have an awesome day.